Leveling up extreme business growth through raising your game. When what was once extraordinary becomes ordinary, you know you've leveled up.
Hello and welcome to the Leveling Up Podcast with me, George Swift. The Leveling Up Podcast is here to give you the personal development, the entrepreneurial development and the business growth that you, the ambitious business owner, desires. I'm here to give you the inspiration, the motivation and to challenge your aspirations to take you and your business to the next level. Don't forget to subscribe to this podcast so that you never miss an episode. It's Friday and therefore we have a Friday 5-minute fix, a more bite-sized condensed episode designed specifically to give you food for thought for you to go into the weekend to ponder upon and to come out Monday all guns blazing. Today I want to round up the theme for this week, which has all been about overwhelm and stress. If you haven't checked out Mondays and Wednesdays episodes 163 and 164 respectively, then go and check those out, especially if you feel like you are under the burden of overwhelm and if you are feeling your stress levels rising. And who could forgive you if they were, because we are in crazy times, and certainly some of the most stressful times you're maybe ever going to have to go through in business. So you want to make sure that you get on top of that overwhelm, get on top of those stress levels. This roller coaster, it ain't done yet. Today, I want to bring it to a conclusion. I want to talk to you about the importance of creating bubbles. Bubbles to protect ourselves, bubbles we can step into. What do I mean by these bubbles? Well, it could be an environment, it could be a space, it could be an office, it might be a part of the garden, it might be the shed. I don't know, wherever it is you're working from these days. Maybe you're back in the office. You want to create yourself a little sanctuary, a little bubble, somewhere where it's okay to protect yourself from the outside world, protect yourself from other people, to protect yourself from the stresses, the overwhelm and the woes of the world. And these could be literal bubbles, like I'm saying, working environments, but they can also be metaphorical, conceptual bubbles, where you take time out just to bubble yourself away from the world, from the worries that you have, from other people. Whether it's that half an hour you take to meditate, that half an hour you go for a walk, that half an hour you go and exercise, take the time and not just get out of the house and get away from people or get away from the computer or the desk or the phone, but also to get yourself away from yourself to some degree, away from your thoughts, your overwhelm and your stresses. It's really important to create these bubbles, especially if you find yourself getting close to the line where you feel like the overwhelm is getting so much so you're ready to break, where the stress is starting to exhibit itself through your behaviors or your reactions and responses to people, when you find yourself snapping at people, being less compassionate, even to those people you love the most. When you start to feel that overwhelm and stress is starting to overwhelm and stress you, it's important to take yourself away, to find that bubble. And if it's not a bubble that's physical and external to where you're working or where you live, then it's a metaphorical bubble inside of yourself. Somewhere you go to be at peace, somewhere you go to get away, to be quiet. It's not selfish, and it doesn't make you a bad mother, a bad wife, a bad husband, or a bad father. It doesn't make you a bad friend or a bad business person. It doesn't make you a bad supplier, a bad employer. You're just taking care of yourself. Your bubble you can go into, you might go into it, as I say, for a period of time each day. It may be that you need to bubble yourself away for a little while. If you're burdened with a lot of decisions to make, you're overwhelmed with what course of action to take, and you're trying to be all things to everybody, it might be important that you bubble yourself away just for a short period of time, where you just put that almost like protective barrier up between you and everything else that's going on. So you can get clear, you can get some space, you can get clarity, and you can start to solve your problems better. You can start to de-escalate your stress levels. Trust me, everyone else around you, they might not understand why you're doing it, but they'll appreciate it when they see the results. And you know what? They don't even need to know you're doing it. It's a conceptual thing. And if it's a physical place you go to, you're just going there to do this. You're going there to exercise. You're going there to clear your head. You're going there to meditate, whatever it is you do. I also want to talk to you about people, creating bubbles of people. I've heard of a lot of people actually over the lockdown and over the situations that we've gone through recently, have really seen people's true colours around them. I know many people where, people they thought were their closest friends, they just haven't behaved in a way over this period that makes the people I know want to be close to them or be around them. I think what's happened through this lockdown and through the stresses of the economy and everything else we're going through, I think everything's heightened. I think we're getting greater exposure to those things in our life that aren't working for us. And it's important to understand that the people that you surround yourself with, some of those people that you habitually hung out with might not be conducive to you having the best experience of life, being the most productive that you can be in business and creating the future, the success and the life that you're trying to create. So again, I want to make you understand that the bubble that I'm talking about here can also extend to a bubble of people. After a recent mastermind session, our Extreme Growth Masterminds, every business owner in there is doing over 100K. They're all looking for extreme growth this year. Obviously, it's challenging times for all of us. And in a world where everybody seems to be losing their head, it was just so nice to be in an environment, albeit one that I've created, but environment of business owners that are sane. And I called it a bubble of sanity. And it's so important that you create yourself a bubble of sanity, whether that's you on your own and, just being sane with yourself and keeping the crazy thinking, the crazy behaviors at bay. But also, it's so much easier to be sane when you're surrounded by sane people. It's so much easier to be calm and collected when you're around calm and collected people. It's so much easier to be happy when you're surrounded by happy people, to be driven when you're surrounded by driven people, to be purposeful when you're surrounded by purposeful people. And I've quoted If, the poem, so many times from Rudyard Kipling. And the opening line is, if you can keep your head when all around you are losing theirs. And I think it's never been more important, which is why I keep quoting the poem. It's one of my favourite. It's never been more important to keep your head, and you must keep your head. And with all the overwhelm that we've been talking about this week and all of the stress that we've been talking about in the last episode, it's so important that we keep our head, that we remain calm, that we remain purposeful and driven, that we remain motivated, and that we remain cognitive, and we don't get consumed by the insanity that might be going on around us, the crazy that might be going on in other people around us. So create these bubbles. Go into the weekend and think about where you need to create these bubbles. There's no shame. You might have to create bubbles in your home life. You may well have to create bubbles even with those people that you love the most and care about the most. That's okay. You might need to get away from those people from time to time, and that's okay. You might need to keep that bubble inside yourself and step into that bubble inside of yourself. So if you can't get away, or you don't need to get away, or you don't want to get away physically, then you can still get away within yourself. Create that bubble inside of yourself. Take a long bath, do some exercise, take yourself off to the other room, plug yourself into an audiobook, pick up a book, whatever you need to do to create that bubble. But then also consider who you're hanging around. Who's going to keep you sane? Who's going to keep you on track? Who's going to inspire you, motivate you? Who's going to fuel your ambition? Who's going to kick you up the arse when you need to be kicked up the arse? Who's going to be compassionate and understanding when you need that as well? Have a think, go into the weekend, create these bubbles for yourself, protect yourself where you need to, manage the overwhelm, manage your stress levels, go and listen to those episodes if you haven't done so already. I'm going to see you on Monday. We'll do it all over again. Until then, if you find yourself at a loose end and want to bubble yourself away with some bloody awesome content that's going to help you grow your business, don't forget, you can get yourself on the 6-Figure Fast Track. It's a masterclass webinar waiting for you right now, completely free of charge. It takes you through the 6-figure mindset, 6-figure business model, and the 6-figure methodologies that are going to take your business to 100K in turnover in the next 12 months or less. When you get there, you'll also see a link to some live events we've got coming up. We cover the same content, but they're interactive, and you get an hour's Q&A to really get under the bonnet of your business and to answer the questions that you might have in order to keep your business progression on track. Have an awesome one. I'll see you Monday. Until then, as always, be successful.
Leveling up. Extreme business growth through raising your game. When what was once extraordinary becomes ordinary, you know you've leveled up.